Welcome back. Well, the Ministry of Police has issued a statement announcing a decrease in serious and violent crimes since lockdown. Now, the ministry also cites a drop in murder and rape cases. I want to bring in now the Police Minister Bheki Cele to talk to us more about this. Minister, thank you very much indeed for your time.
Thank you very much. You're welcome.
So we're seeing this decrease. What do you attribute it to?
Well, you know that the lockdown is meant for fighting the coronavirus, but it has had some other side good impacts, especially on crime matters. Looks like when you look at the same period last year, comparing with the period that is under lockdown, the results are quite positive. When you look to the serious violent crime, those crimes that put fear on the South Africans. For instance, same period last time, you would have 326 murdered people. This year, same period is 94, which is 232 down than the previous year, same time. On case of rape, it was 699. It's 101 this year, which is 598 down. Attempted murder would be 271, is 108, is 163 down. The GBH was 2,673. This year is 456, is 2,217 down. The common robbery would have been 834 last year, same time. This year is 162, is 672 down. That includes your car hijack, which has been same time last year would be 482. This year is 92. You are 390 down. The robbery in the residential premises was 588. This year is 268. We are 300 down. So we'll contribute this on two things: the visibility of the security forces.
Right.
But when it comes to murder, rape, attempted murder, it would be the reduction of alcohol and the non-availability of alcohol. So it has had a very good impact on the front of the violent crime.
So I guess, I can just imagine somebody sitting and watching this interview, screaming at the screen, saying, "Minister, can't we maintain this post the lockdown? Can we?"
As I've complained that the line is quite on the back side. I don't get you very well there.
I was just saying, people probably asking, the obvious question, can we maintain this trend post the lockdown?
Well, I don't want to preempt matters on this thing. It will have to be maintained. There'll have to be change. Well, many people have spoken about change, that the world will never be the same after this. That includes our country. If South Africans agree that alcohol is part of the biggest generators of crime, South Africa will have to look at that and see how can they change their habits on towards the alcohol. But also, as I said, that is a big policing portion to have extra personnel on the road. So the visibility and the reduction of alcohol has proven that can be a good medicine in fighting crime generally going forward. The COVID-19 is going to pass for sure. Then we'll have to take the lessons that we have learned out of it for the normal policing and making sure that South Africans are much safer. If you look at these figures, are the figures that will help us to have better, safe, less abused South Africans. So we'll have to discuss and take lessons out of this. And one of those lessons will have to be about our behavior towards alcohol.
I was watching your press briefing the other day, and something that made me sit up and turn the volume up is when you mentioned, with regards to gender-based violence complaints, you said there was about 87,000 people who called in to complain about violence at home. I see the recent statement that has been released. Over 2,300 calls or complaints has been registered since the beginning of the lockdown on 27th of March 2020. How does your members handle such complaints in terms of the process, knocking on the door and checking up, with regards to the various social distancing, physical distancing issues that we have to deal with? How does your members handle this?
Well, again, it would be good to repeat those figures, because the 87,900 was the figure of the year 2019 as a whole.
I see.
So the figure starting January this year up to now is 15,900. But the figures looking exactly at the gender-based violence under lockdown is 2,300. Yeah. You find that 184 people that have been charged for that. So sometimes these calls are repeated calls. Sometimes are people that up to this point they don't get seriousness of these calls. They will just call for funny, and when you follow those things up, you don't find them. But the issue of gender-based violence is an issue, again, as I've said before, that will have to be worked far beyond the period that we are in now. As we were in this era, we believe that the structures of the FCS, that is the Family and Child Violence Unit within the South African Police, should have been up. That's why we have given the number on specializing that 0800 150 150, so that people that they feel and they see any gender-based violence, they can call on that number, so that our unit that is dealing with the numbers can respond quicker.
Another issue that many are fighting against is the issue of fake news. Misinformation has a tendency to spread faster than the virus, you would agree, in some instances. And I see a statement here about a Pretoria man that was arrested after releasing this so-called mocking video that went viral. Tell us more about that, Minister.
Well, the fake news is an issue. I saw the Minister of Transport yesterday complaining about one video that was talking about news of Limpopo. It was discovered that video was taken 2 years ago. I don't know if you have seen recently the Minister of Police dancing again. The Minister of Police was dancing 2 years ago. But somebody has issued that saying the Minister of Police tells everybody to go and sleep and he keeps dancing. So there are such things. The gentleman that you saw saying that this thing doesn't exist, there is nothing called corona, was arrested, is out on bail, I think appears somewhere in May, was out on bail of 2,000. But he has issued another video apologizing. He has issued another video calling on people to respect this thing. Another one was a video of 4 youngsters. I think there were 3 ladies and one gentleman. They were soaring like nobody's business as the minister, but also ridiculing the coronavirus. They were arrested. They were very fortunate that when they were in cells in Temba police station, they were visited by the Minister of Police, who went to see them in the cells. The ladies cried, and the gentleman we spoke to, he apologized, and he says they were very drunk. Well, I made a call to the gentleman to say the best gift that you can give to yourself and the best apology is that you stop drinking alcohol from now on. I have spoken to him, we are speaking with him, and he has availed himself. He would love to be an ambassador to say that this is a serious disease and everybody must respect.
I mean, this is an issue that has been with us for many years now with regards to spreading misinformation on social media in particular. And a lot of the times people don't have bad intentions when they forward a meme or certain information that they get. I guess it's all part of this culture of wanting to be seen as the person that is disseminating this information and being seen as a newsmaker, so to speak. But talk to our viewers, Minister, in terms of the seriousness and what constitutes misinformation online and the punishment that follows.
Well, let me tell you, there are two dangerous things. Ignorance, but misinformation is even more dangerous than the ignorance, the lack of knowledge. So if people can understand that to spread misinformation on this, unfortunately at the present moment, especially the young people, they believe so much on the social media.
Yeah.
And then you continue to abuse the platform that should be used properly. So it's an issue that the state will have to be really tough on the people when it is discovered that the people are spreading misinformation on the matter. But again, the South Africans, the young people, must learn that they must take this information with a pinch of salt initially, find the ways of double-checking, find the ways of checking and balance if the thing is true, rather than to take it as it comes. But the people that they send things knowing very well that they are wrong, they're inciting people, they're telling people something that does not exist, the state must act on those people and must act decisively.
You know, while I got you here, Minister Cele, I want to get some clarification with regards to certain things that are doing its rounds on social media, in particular about the sale of cigarettes. There was some confusion as to what the regulation actually says. Clarify for us in terms of the sale of tobacco products.
Look, there is no confusion about the selling of the cigarette here. The initial regulations that were made by a president after the announcement, regulation by the minister and Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma, were very clear of things that you can go and purchase. Things were listed. One thing that was very clear there was that it was food, medication, and medicine, and all those kind of things. But you can go. That's why people were allowed to go for those things. Were allowed to go to chemists, pharmacies. Were allowed to go to supermarkets, and things that had nothing to do with food and medicine were not listed there. For some reason, Western Cape came up with this thing of cigarettes. It's the Western Cape that came with that thing. And they have a right to think, they have a right to put those things on discussion with the national command. But they don't have the right of announcing something different from the national command and the national approach, having not raised their issue in discussion. That's one. Hence, they had from the Minister of Police saying, no, cigarettes are not part of the things you can go and buy. That night of the statement, I spoke at length with the Premier of Western Cape, saying, please give me your evidence to say cigarette is an essential matter. Premier couldn't do it, except that he reported me to the President, and next time to say I'm saying cigarettes should not be bought. And up to this point, he hasn't proven to say cigarette is an essential thing. He equated cigarette to the dry wood. Dry wood, if you don't have electricity, you make food out of it. So food and the food chain remains essential, including wood. But cigarette cannot be. But I'm told that has been withdrawn by the Western Cape, and they believe that they need to follow the national approach. There is no province that is better than the other province. If the decision is a national decision, yes, you take it. But if you do have a different opinion, put it on the discussion rather than announcing something different from the decision that has been taken nationally.
Right, appreciate that clarification there, Minister. I want to bring up these pictures again. We were running it of our men and women in blue, who are meant to protect and serve this nation, especially during this lockdown. We understand that the South African National Defence Force is in support. They will be supporting the police, who will be in charge of policing the nation during this time. And we need to respect these men and women in the picture here that we are seeing on our screens, no doubt. The army, the military personnel, they protect the territorial integrity of this nation. They play a vital role in society. But, Minister, there's been some issues with regards to attitude, complaints about heavy-handedness. You had a chance to address your members in this regard. Have you seen any difference, if you have addressed them, since?
Well, maybe what has not been done extra is to pay tributes to the law enforcement and law enforcers in the Republic of South Africa, all of them, and the men and women in blue, the soldiers, the metros, and all that. Remember, they're in the front line. Nobody tells them about going to hide, to stay in the houses. When everybody has a right to go hide and stay in the houses, they are told to be in the front line together with the health workers and all that. They are there facing the long queues at the stations and all that. Up to this point, from the side of the police, we have 6 confirmed people that have been infected. It's still a miracle for the fact that they are completely open and completely vulnerable out there. The question of calling on them to work on the matter, remember, they were both addressed by the head of the state, His Excellency the President, who both addressed the police and addressed the soldiers. And there would be the things that would be coming out of the question that they would not have supposed to have done. I've looked already the report of the IPID, especially with the South African police. One good thing about that is that these forces, they do have a big brother that oversees them, like the IPID and other structures within the police themselves. And the soldiers do have a big brother like the ombudsman. It's not just they are thrown and unleashed there without any control of them. So those that they get out of the way and do things that are not supposed, we really will have to oversee them, and they get a relevant kind of punishment out of that. But we are also calling on the communities to work with them, to support them, to partner them. Don't taunt them and poke them and ridicule them as they do their work there, which does not necessarily mean that police must have an overhand dealing with those matters. But we are calling, because there are members of the communities that they go out there, they poke the police and ridicule them, and they expect those police to be there and don't act or don't react as they do those things. So we are also calling on the media to call on communities. Yes, there is a lot of call on the enforcement personnel, but there is less call. There is less call on the communities when they break those rules, when they don't do things that they're not supposed to do, when they drink alcohol, even when these things are known by the media, but media doesn't really hit on the communities out there. The last point on this one, I will also want the reporting to be accurate. For instance, there is a report of a police officer that has raped somebody. Yes, they don't tell that he raped at the police station or privately. But what has come out at the end of the day is that policeman who raped this lady is the husband of a lady. But that is not brought up. It looks like it's a police in uniform who went out to rape there. So I would have loved to say, yes, he's a police officer, but also is a husband. Like, we do arrest many boyfriends, husbands that rape their partners. But it has not been said before that is a CEO husband, it's not said that is a pilot husband, is a taxi driver husband. But this emphasis of police husband, it should have been said that is a husband before the police. So those are the things that you are calling that have a little bit of accurate reporting, like when 8 people, it has been alleged that have been killed by the police, and that narrative continues. But nobody tells the story that at Egruleni is a private security person that has been arrested. No police has been arrested there. Nobody tells the story that in Cape Town, a person that has been police accused to have killed that person, the post-mortem has told us that it was naturally was a heart attack. The people don't come back to correct that situation, that narrative, and it looks like police have killed 8 people, even when the investigation and the confirmation has made that it wasn't so. So it's a call to say, please report things in a proper way. Where mistakes have been made, correct them, and keep South Africans given the proper facts about what is going on.
Look, I don't think anyone will disagree with you with regards to accuracy. I mean, that's a basic tenet of journalism. Facts need to lead, not fear. But when it boils, when you break it down, when we're talking about the relationship between the police as well as the community, respect needs to go both ways, and you would agree with regards to that. Minister, we're fast running out of time, but I just want to squeeze in one more question. We've got a lot of complaints, even on today's program as well. We spoke to pastors who are saying that their congregants are, they don't know how to maneuver with regards to funerals. I mean, you made it very clear, all the press conferences I've seen you addressing that this 50, you're not going to back down with regards to that. But so how would you, it'd probably be so hard for your members as well to police a funeral. Emotions are running high. Sense of melancholy prevails. How do you police that? How do you reason with somebody that is going through such emotional stress? Any wiggle room with regards to funerals, or not at all?
Well, one thing, at every police station before we start, we have a parade there, where the leadership and the management will address about the issues of the day, about the stresses of the day. As you say, we try to keep them abreast, to talk with the people on ground on the changes of regulations, what is new and all that. That's one. But 2, we have quite several structures that deal with the wellness of the police, to see to their stress levels, try to address them. It might not be adequate. We have about 1,000, we have about 197,000 personnel in this organization. It's a huge organization. It might happen that some few people will get out of the way now and again, but the big chunk, the big number of this organization are doing the good work on behalf of South Africans. But indeed, we do need to look at their welfare and keep, as a management, as a political leadership, support them going forward. And we believe that they are doing the good job, and we believe that they need to be supported by all South Africans, and those that get out of the way, they should be helped and find out what is the stress level on them rather than condemning them, all that. But those that they break the law, they are South Africans, they must fall under the same processes for all South Africans that break the law.
We hear you, Minister. We thank you very much indeed for coming on, clarifying a few issues. No doubt we'll have you back on the program to clarify more. Things are changing rapidly. It's a fluid situation on the ground. So thank you very much indeed for your time, sir.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
All right.